Today we will be covering creating custom proposal templates and utilizing them in the AlarmBiller application. If you have any questions, please ask those on the side panel bar for the GoToMeeting, and we'll try to cover those either during the presentation or at the end. So thank you everybody who have attended all of these, and we'll begin the presentation now. So currently I am in the AlarmBiller application, and you will still currently I am in the eForms application, and I navigated to the templates page. So in the templates page here, to add a custom proposal template, you're going to click on templates and you're going to click add template. Now you can create one proposal template and you can copy it and use it over and over. So for example, you might have a proposal template that you work off of, but you might have maybe a specific proposal that is only used for residential sales. Maybe you have an upgrade one. Maybe you have another one that's for commercial sales. Maybe another one's for just CCTV. So when you're creating this, I recommend that you create one template, and then you can click copy. You can rename it and use and create as many templates as you want. But at least you have the foundation and the basis creating that first template, so you can use that over and over. So, and when you're creating it, I would just come in here and put proposal template for the name. You can do that for the description, and then you're going to have to pick integration type with AlarmBiller, and you'll also have to select data type proposal. If you don't pick AlarmBiller and data type proposal, you can't create a custom proposal. Now, uploading a PDF. If you're creating a custom proposal, you will not upload a PDF. You can't use a template, or I'm sorry, you can't use a PDF and upload it and have information and data as far as like charges, items, and parts automatically populate. It skews the document, so you're going to need to not upload a PDF. You'll just click update. So again, you put in your name, proposal template, pick integration with AlarmBiller, pick data type proposal, and click update. Now, once you do click update, I already have one created in here. You're going to have a new view here, and this is basically going to be a designer mode, and it's going to be a blank canvas that you can work off of. Okay, and so you can see there's different sections, and the borders are actually colored differently, and that will come into effect. And if you look at these question marks, this will tell you how the data will appear. So this is the page header, and this will appear at the beginning of each page. If you have a proposal that expands and is multiple pages, this header will appear on the top of each page. Now, this section right here, this is only going to show up once at the beginning of the printed document. So you might have things like the customer basic information and maybe the site address are going to only show up once in the beginning. In the body of the document, this will expand vertically if the body contains any list elements. And in English, what that means is if you have, for example, you create a proposal in AlarmBiller and you have 50 parts on it. When the parts populate this specific form, it's going to roll over into the next page, and etc. So this will be the body of your physical form. The footer, this will only appear at the very end of the printed document, right above this footer right here. So if you have a document that's 3 pages long, this will show up on page 3 at the very bottom. This section right here will appear at the end of each page, and this will be your footer. Okay, so that being said, here these are there when you go into the application, and you can always drag and make these larger, expand or contract these. Okay, now navigating to the left here, we'll just start off with a picture. So if you want to get your logo in, you'll drag a picture box in here. Now you can upload by clicking select file, so you can pick a logo that's directly on your computer, or if you have a previously used one, you can click on previously used, which I'm going to do right now. You can click on the logo, click use selected, and then here's my logo. Now I want my logo to show up on each page. So if it's 3 pages, I want my logo to be on the very top. So I'm going to expand this a little bit. I'm going to put my logo right here. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to add my address. So it's under the logo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag a text box in. And a text box is going to be used just for static text. So when you drag it in, you can see place static text here. You're not going to be able to click directly in here. Anytime you drag in a field, take a glance to the right-hand side. And if I click edit here, I can edit this text that's going to be entered in. So you just essentially you go over, drag the text box in, click edit, and then you can place your static text in here. So I'm going to, I already have my address. I'm going to copy and paste this in. Okay. And then I can pick a font that I want for this text, and so you'll see that it will appear in the document. I can center this, so I want it to be centered, and then my size, we'll just do a 10 point. And I can resize this if I need to. And so when I send the proposal out, again, this will show up at the very top. Now I want to add another text box here, and I want this text box to be labeled estimate. Okay. And we're going to change this to Arial. And then for this font, maybe we do a 36. That's a little too big. Okay. And when this sends out, this is going to say estimate at the top. Okay. So that's all the information I want to show up at the top. Okay. So some other things you might do, you might drag a text box in here, and maybe in this text box you want to have the estimate ID number. And actually, I'll just put this at the top too. So estimate ID. Okay. And then maybe we want the estimate date. Okay. Now, I'm entering in right now. I put an estimate ID and estimate date. I know both of these fields. I can map these from the proposal directly in AlarmBiller, so I'm going to do so. So for the estimate ID, I'm going to click on Add Data and click on Share Data. Now, shared data are, and we covered this in the other webinar, are any fields that exist in the AlarmBiller application. So since I picked integration AlarmBiller and I picked data type proposal, all of these fields are going to be available to pre-populate my form when I have this custom proposal. So if I click on this proposal drop down, you can see the estimate ID is automatically going to populate on this form when I create my custom proposal. So I want that to be bold, and then I want that estimate ID to come in here. So you can drag shared data in directly from here, but you can also add shared data in a text box, and this makes it a lot easier to format those fields. So yeah, it makes it easier for that. The estimate date, and that's also a field in my proposal, so I want to have the estimate date. I have that somewhere in here. Here it is, proposal date, and then I'm going to have this be bold. Okay, and I can also, maybe I want this to be on the right hash. Okay. So you can actually put it to the right side, or I can have it in the middle or to the left. Right. Now, if I want to take a look, and I want to take a look and see how this is going to show up right now, if I click on preview, okay, this is not affecting any information sent to the customer. This is just a This is just going to be a quick preview of what this will look like. And you'll see, and I'll keep going and showing you the previews. So as this comes together, you'll see what this form will look like. So we have the, like I said, I have the logo at the top here, estimate ID, and then the shared data. When I clicked on preview, I already have a proposal that is created in the AlarmBiller application. So I have to pick which proposal I want to preview based on that data that's provided. And so here's that proposal. You can see the estimate ID number automatically populated, the proposal date, and then we have that labeled as estimate. Okay, so that's the first start of my proposal working off of that header. Now, on the first page, I want to have the customer information up here, and then I want to have the site information. So I'm going to place a text field, and I'm going to click edit, and maybe I just want to say customer information. Okay, so pretty simple. Again, I want fields to automatically populate this form, so I'm going to click add data, and then I want to, I'm going to add, since this is customer information, I'm going to look at the customer level, and maybe I want to add the address, and then city, comma, and I'll put the state in. And then last, we'll add the zip. And maybe under that, or maybe on top of that, I want to add the, from the proposal, I just want to add the contact, the proposal contact. Or you can put the customer, if I wanted to come in and I could put the customer and I could put the first name and last name, and that would automatically populate the form too. And then maybe under here, I want to add the phone number for that customer. And so I can bold this, I'm going to underline it, and that will be my customer information right there. Okay, to the right now, we want to add the site information. I'm going to drag another text box in, click edit, and we're going to say site information. And you can do the same thing, so you can add any data you want from the, site level. So this is going to be my site address. I put in the address. I think everyone, and then last we'll put in just the zip code. Okay. And if you have a specific site name, you can always add in the site name as well. Those might be different than your customer information. Okay, so I can build and underline that. Now, when I create a proposal and I have this form, it's going to automatically populate all those shared data fields. And again, you can always drag in your shared data fields directly like this, but you can see it's a little bit easier when you have information populating like this to put it directly in a text box, because if I'm trying to line these up, I don't know how long the city name is, and then I can't put in a comma right here. I'd have to put in another text box and then put Ohio. So this will be much easier when you're formatting your shared data to have them entered directly in a text box. Okay, so I have my customer information, I have my site information. Now here comes the fun part: adding the charges. Charges are items and parts combined together. So very similar to how we have it set up with our default proposal template, the charges would have both items and parts. Okay, now if I wanted those separated, you can do so. So if you come down to this shared data proposal and I drag parts, this will have all the parts. And then if I want all my items, I can drag in the items and I can have those broken apart. Okay, and at the bottom here, maybe I want to have a total amount. So I drag in a text box and I click edit and I say we want to have total amount. And then I can add my shared data. And from the proposal, I want the total amount. And then I'll put under here taxes. AB applied. Okay, I'm going to bold this, italicize, and then maybe I want the total amount to be a little bit larger. I want that to be bold as well. Okay. So now, again, if I take a preview and I want to take a look at this, here's what this form would look like. Okay, so it's coming together. We have our item, home security package. We have all of our parts. Now these, you can see these are all line items. Maybe I don't like how this looks. I want the quantity to be over here. I want the description to be, and I don't want to line item these parts. I just want to, and I don't want to break apart my items and parts, or my items either. Maybe I just want my items to show the cost right here. And then I don't want my parts to be line item. You can come into this proposal. You can click, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add charges. Okay. And we do a quick preview. Here's what the charges will look like. So the charges will have the items up here, which was our item, and then here's all those parts that are line item. Okay. This, I'm just going to have it bundled for this specific template. I just want it to show the total amount at the bottom. I don't want to show any pricing right here. So I'm going to come back after I drag this charges in, and I'm going to click Edit Columns. When I click Edit Columns, I'm going to drag my quantity over here, and you can make this smaller, so I don't need my quantity to take up that much space. I have my description here, and if you click on the drop down, you can have the alignment of the header. So the display is quantity. If I want to have that on the left side, I can center it, etc. And I can also change, if I just wanted to do the name of that field too, I can have the name change as well. And when it populates, do I want this to be centered or on the left hash? Okay. The rate and the amount, I don't want either of those presented. And I do want to have the part image because I uploaded images for my parts. So I want those to populate on my proposal. I will show you how we can set this up for your parts and how you can add in an image. So I don't need it to say part image, obviously, so I don't need a display text. I can make this a little bit smaller because I don't need the parts to be that big. And I'm going to drag this up here because I don't need that much space. So now I just have the quantity that's going to populate on this template and the description. And then if I have any pictures, the pictures. So I'm going to do a preview. And now here's what my form's going to look like. So these are a little big. I can make them smaller, but you can see how this, my pricing is not there. It just has that the lump sum at the bottom here. Okay. I'm actually going to make this a little smaller. Okay. Now, so that's items, and that's all your charges and your items. Now, I may save this as a form, or I may save this as a template. And you can always, for your proposal template, click copy. So for this specific proposal template, I click copy. I still have my proposal template, but I'm going to rename this one. And I'm going to click edit. And I'm going to say this is Resi proposal images lump sum. Click update. And now here is, I still have my template, but here is my custom proposal just for residential. So you can create 100 templates, proposal templates. It's up to you. But you probably should have just one proposal template, and then you can copy as many times as you want, but you can adjust each individual form to your liking. So for this residential proposal, you can see I made that copy, everything pre-populated, but my terms might be a little bit different for this specific estimate than it would be for commercial, or maybe for a commercial account, they want each part line itemed with the pricing for it. So I could do that. I could come and I could delete this charges. I could drag in another charges, and I can have the rate and the amount for that one. So you can customize this to your liking. Now, maybe I want to identify each individual area. So I have my charges right here, and then maybe at the bottom here, I want my my RMR, my recurring, to show up on here too. And I can edit the column, so maybe, recurring charges. And I can have my description, and maybe I just want my amount in, and then I want to take out my cycle amount. Okay, so you can customize that as well. Now in the bottom here, I'm going to drag a text box in, and this is going to be the part for my my terms, so my payment terms. So I'm going to label this payment terms. Okay, and I'm going to have this be bold. Okay, so I have my payment terms, and I'm just going to make this full width. And I want to change the make full width, and I want to change the background color too. I want it to be more gray. So since I have this text box, in the text box, I can click this background color, and I can pick from the 500 colors we have here. And then I want to change the so you'll pick the color, and then you can pick the opacity down here. Okay, and so that looks good for my background. And then I can have my payment terms added in. So with my payment terms, I want to add in just a text field. I can say payment in full. So since I picked a text box, this is going to be static text. Now, if these payment terms could change on each time you send this out, you have a couple options. Okay, you can create a form data field, and a form data field is basically any field that you want to make editable before you send out. Okay, or make it editable for the recipient. Now, if you're using form data fields, you'll have to use eForms to deliver this. You can't override the template, and I'll show you that in a second. So if I add a form data field, I could have a drop down, for example, and the drop down might have 3 different payment terms. And maybe before I send this out, I want to pick between one of those payment terms, and so I can have value 1 would be 50% down, and I can put in my display text, and then value 2 would be 100% down, due upon. So all your payment terms you can add, and then you can they'll add them as form data, and you can drag those in and make those editable before you send that out for your specific terms. Okay, so we'll just do a really basic payment term here. So I think you get the point, but you can basically separate each section. So you have your charges here. If you wanted to create a text box and label these charges, you could. If you wanted to just take out the charges label, then I don't have the charges label. So maybe you just wanted to have something similar to this and just put charges across the top. And then you have your payment terms. And then maybe you have down here, you add another to separate this. And maybe it's called optional services. Okay, and so for some of your optional services, you can create in some radio check boxes where the customer can actually check off and add any optional services for an additional cost. Okay, so you can separate all of those. I'm not going to go through all of that right now because I want to show you a completed form and what that looks like. So maybe at the bottom of the application, or I'm sorry, at the footer, you just want to add a text box that says this pricing is valid for 30 days. We bold this, italicized, and then if I want to change the color, I can come in here, I can change the color. Okay, and so we're going to put this at the bottom in this form, and I want to make this the full width, and obviously I need that to be centered or it's not going to look very good. So I'm going to click edit again. I'm going to come up here, highlight, and I'm going to center that, and this is going to show up at the very bottom. Okay. Now in this bottom section here, this is probably where you're going to have your signature. Okay. So for my signature box, and you can do this how you want, you can just drag in a signature box, and you can leave it like this and have the agreed to by. I like to customize mine a little bit differently. So I'm going to take out the agreed to by. I'm going to take out the show line, and I'm just going to have the X here. Now I want to minimize the things that my customer has to sign. So I just want them to sign. I don't want them to have to type their name in, and I don't want them to have to pick and put a date in. I want that all to be pre-populated. So I'm going to drag 3 shapes here, and the shape is just a line across. But I want that line across, so it's going to format for my signature box. So I want that line across, and then I want 2 more. So I'm going to drag in 2 more shapes, and I'll make sure these are the same size. Put that next to here. And I'm going to drag in 1 more. And that'll be my 3rd. And I want to label under each of these. So the first is going to be sign here. And we'll just say customer signature. So that'll be a text box that I have that will show up. The second is I want the customer name. So it's a text box, and it will label a customer name. And then the third, I want to be the date signed. Okay. So I'm going to show you both options. Option A is I have the customer, and I make the customer type their name in, and I have the customer make them put in a date field in here. And if I did that, I would need to create a form data field. I would label it customer name. This would be the text box, and add that in, and I could drag that over now. And so I'm going to say this field can be edited by the recipient, and they're required to put in their name, type in their name. Now I'm not going to use that on this form, so I'm going to delete that, and then I'm going to click here and click delete field. And I could do the same thing for the date signed. I could create a form data field labeled date, and I can make that editable required by the customer. Now, since I dragged the signature field in, you can see this little arrow right here. So this is a little trick or shortcut for you. I can have the timestamp. So when they sign, this timestamp is automatically going to fill in for the date signed. And then this name is automatically going to populate the customer name when they sign as well. And then I want the IP address to populate right above the signature. Okay. So here's my proposal. Click save. If I want to take a look at a quick preview, I'm going to take a look at a quick preview here, and here's what this is going to look like. Okay, someone asked me, said I was going a little too fast, so I'm not a trainer, so I tend to do that. So I will go over that again for you really quick. So you can see here's what my proposal's estimate's going to look like. So obviously, vastly different from the estimate that we have in AlarmBiller right now. So with the proposal, all I did is I dragged in a signature box, okay? And then these three down here are text box, so I could label these. This right here is just a shape. It's a line that I put under these, and I made them even. And with the signature box, when you drag a signature box in, it'll create what's called a form data field. And on that form data field is a drop-down arrow, okay? And there's three different sections that you can pick from. Timestamp. So when this is signed electronically, automatically this timestamp or date will populate right here. The name will automatically populate right here based on who's signing it. And the signature obviously will be electronically provided in the signature box. Now, the IP address will be captured immediately when the customer signs this with this signature box. If you have any more questions on that, I can give you a call individually after. So this estimate's now created, this template. I can click Save and then click back to Available Forms. And now I can use this as a template. So here's my proposal template. I have a custom proposal right here. And then here's two other proposals that were created. So this one has contract terms, some radio buttons, down payment, monthly fee, optional services, signature at the bottom. So you can get pretty, these can be pretty customizable for and detailed for what information that you want to populate on here. Now, your templates are all created, okay? So we're going to jump back to the AlarmBiller application. Now, you're going to create your proposals the exact same way. So you come into the application, you click New Proposal, you generate your proposal. After that proposal is created, okay, and you create the proposal, you have a couple options here now. So since the proposal is created, now the traditional way to print off a proposal, you can just click Print, okay, and then here is your standard proposal template. And when you do click Print, if you want to override and you want to use one of your templates and you want to print it out as a PDF, you can click Override Template. And then here are the selections you can pick from. So here's the templates that I just created in the system. And so you can pick which one you want to override. And here's the one that we created. And if I click Print, it'll print out the PDF. If I click Email, it will email the PDF proposal to the customer. It's not going to send it electronically. So this will work the exact same as if you were using our standard template if you click Email or Print. So now if I click Print, here's what it's going to use that template, and it's going to, so this is the one we just created, okay? And so it's just going to make a hard copy PDF. Now, if I want to send it as an e-form, I'll create the proposal, I'll click e-forms, and I'll click Add e-form. Now I'm going to pick that proposal template that we just created, and if you have a couple in here, you can pick from those as well. But we did the residential proposal right here. Oh, I'm sorry, Adam Hyman. Okay, and then you're going to click Save. Now this is going to open up a new page for me. It's going to automatically pull in the contact information. So I have I have that email address right here, and then I have the name. Okay, and then here's my proposal. So what I want to do first is I want to customize the body of the email that's going to be sent. So Adam, okay? And then, so here's going to be my body of the email. It's going to be sent to Adam. If I want to add another recipient, I can. I can simply select add recipient, type in the email address and type in the name, and I can add another recipient. I don't need to do that though. And then I have, if I come to the right here, I can put an expiration date. This will say when this form is going to expire. So if they try to access, the customer tries to access this form after this specific date, they won't be able to. And now in my form, I have a signature field, and so you can see I have one assigned. I can't send it yet because I need to assign the recipient to this specific signature field. So I click that one assign. I'm going to click on my recipient right here, and then I'm simply just going to assign it to this specific field, which is that signature field. I come up here, I click save, click close, and now I can send this proposal electronically. So I'm going to click send. If I'm right on site and I want to get that sign right now, I can simply just click the sign button, and this will pull up that form electronically, and I can get it signed by the customer. Now I'm going to jump back to AlarmBiller, and if I go into that proposal, you can see that in the eForms tab, I can't edit this because the eForms pending and sent out to that customer. And here it is right here. I can see it hasn't been completed yet. It's still in pending. So I know I have an eForm out for this customer because it's sent equals yes, and there's one form open. Okay, and then the customer, when they receive that form, this is what the customer would receive. So if you weren't on site with them and you want to send it to the customer, they can simply click review document. Open this form, click accept. And then here's the proposal sent to them. They can sign electronically using, I can draw it or just use the font. Click accept. And then you'll see once I click accept up here, are you sure you want to complete? Once this document is completed, you will no longer be able to make any changes. So as soon as I click OK, as the customer, this will automatically notify the recipient who sent this out. You can see the IP address is automatically populated above the signature. That name automatically came in, and then here's that date signed. Okay, and if I want to click preview and download this as a customer, I can. And now if we jump back and update, refresh this, you'll see that the status of that proposal turned to accepted. The sender automatically will receive an email, and then that eForm is attached or completed right here. And if I went to the customer profile and click on customer, go into utilities, and go under documents, here's that signed estimate, and I could just click download. And here is the signed agreement automatically attached as a document to the customer profile with the signing certificate. If I click on that eForm and wanted to go directly into the eForms application, this will open up the eForms application, and I can always click download or certificate through here. So the nice thing is, if I went in my home screen in eForms, once the document's completed, not only can I see that it's completed or accepted in the proposals tab, but also right in my home screen in the completed forms, here's that completed estimate right here. And I can always click on that and say, all right, I want to see this completed one, and then this will drive me right to the proposal or the customer. Okay, and since it automatically changes the status for you, If you're going into your proposals queue, here's my open close proposals. I know it's already sitting in this queue, so I can go through my normal process of closing that proposal out and turning it into a work order or an invoice.